What's up, guys? Devin fan, Black Mamba Wing Chun. Welcome back. So I want you to go with me on a little adventure of the mind right now. I want you to imagine you've been taking Wing Chun for a couple of years, going to your club, practicing all the time, working hard. Maybe you've even gotten to the point where you feel like you're really good at Chi Sao, better than a lot of guys and women in your club, and you can kind of feel like you have some sensitivity there and you can control. People have a hard time dealing with you in Chi Sao, getting stronger, all building up in sensitivity, all those important skills. Your forms are looking good. Luckily, we don't have that many forms, so now you're practicing at your forms. Everything looks clean. You kind of understand the meaning behind them, building great structure that way. Maybe you even invested, you got a wooden dummy at home, and now you've got the wooden dummy motion down, you're back and forth in the wooden dummy, all that stuff's starting to feel natural too. Wing Chun fundamentals, which is amazing, okay? Feeling pretty good about your Wing Chun, feeling pretty good about where you're at with your Kung Fu. Then one day, worst case scenario actually happens. You're on your way home from work, and all of a sudden, against everything else that you've ever wanted to deal with, it's not a situation where you can control it. You end up in a sudden, violent encounter where you have to defend yourself. Your instincts click in, you get yourself into Chi Sao close range here. You're prepared to deal with this emergency. You got over that first instinct of defending, trying to get yourself hit. You're there, you're in close. You start firing punches, and the worst thing happens. You fire those punches, and all of a sudden you realize that they're not doing what they need to do, and you're getting overwhelmed by your opponent. Okay? What the hell happened here? How did we get so let down here? You put in this work, your Sunam Tao looks good, you're good at the wooden dummy, your Chi Sao's good. What's going on here? Why can't you deal with this person? Why are you now under the threat of losing your life in this situation? It's a fundamental breakdown, okay? Sometimes, when you're training Kung Fu for a long time, depending on how you're training it, it becomes very easy to mistake the delivery system for what we're trying to deliver. In the same way that if let's say you're an archer and your obsession became making the perfect bow and getting your form perfect, you can draw back, you can hit a target from 100 yards away, all those things look great, everyone compliments you on how well this is going, but then the arrow that you're using is a Nerf arrow and it bounces, not actually doing any damage when it hits. Wing Chun, my perspective, okay? If you have a different perspective, that's totally fine. This is all just sharing my view. My perspective, Wing Chun is a delivery system for short range strikes. That's what it's designed to do, okay? The techniques, all of these things, concepts are all so you can be in your own in close fighting range, put you in an advantage, and deliver short range strikes. That's what it's there to do. If you have everything leading up to, and you don't have that ability to fire at short range and make it work, you're gonna find yourself, hopefully never, okay? Most of us will never find ourselves in that situation, but if you do, you don't wanna find yourself in a position where the tools that you need are not there for you, empty toolbox when you need them the absolute most. So how do we prevent this scenario from happening? You don't prevent it by ignoring all those other things, because Chi Sao, wooden dummy techniques, practicing your forms and transitions and all those things are amazing tools for getting you to the point where you can deliver those strikes. But there's, in the end, okay, it's secondary, because you have to have the weapon to deliver. You don't want to have your bomber all set up and everything is good to go and all this high-tech stuff, and then you drop it and it's a glitter bomb instead of a real bomb when you need it to be, okay? That's exactly what the scenario is here. So, how do we get there? I'm going to break it down. I want to keep this simple for you and show you a way to train that will help you. This is how I'm teaching my own children. I care about their safety more than anyone, okay? So when I break it down, and I have my son here doing the exact same thing at home, he's working on this, there's a reason. It's because I believe that's the way he can best protect himself, by training this way, okay? In addition to, I'm not going to go over the form, I've done forms and stuff with you, wooden dummy, we're not going to talk about that, it's something different, okay? Different purpose. So, let's look at, if you don't have this guy, if you don't have a heavy bag, whatever it is, I don't care if you take a pillowcase and fill it with rags or whatever, and you have something that you can practice hitting against, okay? Doesn't matter what it is. Whatever it is, hanging a cushion, whatever, you have to come up with your own solution, your own place. I don't know what your situation is, okay? Regardless, whatever you have to practice on here, okay? I'm glad this guy doesn't have arms. The wooden dummy has arms. We already have that to practice with. This is the opposite focus. This is beyond the arms. We're focusing on our target here, okay? So, with this guy here, 3 steps. First step, I want you to find your ideal range. It's going to be different for everyone. So from here, your ideal range for Wing Chun means that I want you to go in front of your target. You're going to face square. You don't have to face front. We'll make it easy for now. You face front, okay? You take your fist, you reach. For this guy here, I'm going to do it on this side so you can see. My ideal range is at full extension for my punch here with Wing Chun, because remember, I'm doing a short range punch. It's going to be a sudden burst punch like this. I'm not hyperextending and locking my elbow here. And for now, because we're fighting two-handed, I'm not going to think about hyperextending my shoulder either. So my ideal range in Wing Chun is actually there, all right? Not to the surface of his face here, because we're not trying to bounce our shots off of our opponent's face. When I punch, I should be thinking, keep it in context, okay? I should be thinking I'm punching inside. If I was aiming at a target, my target is actually his brain in here. That's what my target is, punching inside his head, not bouncing off the surface of his face. If I bounce off, it's going to have no power. When I throw my shot here, it should go right into him. That's what I'm trying to do, okay? So first things first, you find your range here. Easy to do. Stand in front. If it's a bag, it should be just inside the bag. If it's a pillow, it should be just inside the pillow, okay? Just past that much past the surface. That's your ideal fight. Now you know your range, you get comfortable. You get comfortable being in this range, okay? You want to take it step by step. You can then practice from here. I'm firing my shots. I'm firing my shots in my range here, okay? Step 1, you find your range. You get comfortable pivoting, developing power from here. Step 2, now you practice into range and your strike, okay? Into range and strike. So in our last lesson, we talked about closing the gap. So here's your opportunity to do that, where you throw your shot first. You throw your shot first, you come into range, okay? You throw your shot, I come into range there. I get comfortable moving from out of range into my chosen range here. Practice 1,000 times, okay? Your opponent's not going to stand, he's going to be moving, so you have to be able to adjust. You want to be able to find your range and know where it is and dominate that range there, okay? Final step, most important. You're going to now, this guy now is just like a wooden dummy in a way, okay? Except he's one we're just hitting. So from here, when you're comfortable making your shots, moving around, I'm here, I'm moving back and forth. I'm going to practice, I'm going to come in, I'm going to come out. I'm going to strike, I'm coming back, I'm going from side to the other side. I'm throwing my shots. I'm going to break this up, okay? So if you're starting at home, you haven't done this before, you start easy. Do maybe 20-second rounds, okay? You can set on your cell phone or whatever. 20 seconds, rotate back and forth, develop that power, give yourself a minute rest, 20 seconds, minute rest, 20 seconds, 20-second rounds, okay? After that, that's gonna help you in so many different ways. It's gonna help with your footwork. It's gonna help with your breathing, because you have to breathe to be able to keep going like that. It's gonna help you with delivering strikes while you're moving. Fundamental skills, okay? The more comfortable you get with it, when I'm here, as you get comfortable, you can practice your defense, you can practice throwing elbows, there's all kinds of different stuff. You're always moving, you're always striking, create openings, block, fire shots, whatever. You're moving back and forth, you treat it like the wooden dummy, you go back and forth, side to side. Always trying to get to the blind side so you can throw your shot there, okay? Important thing when you're training, important to me that you do this. As you do this, when you're here and you're firing those shots, you practice firing with power. Only way you You can talk and watch videos for hours about developing a strong punch. Only way to do it is to do it 10,000 times. And your body will figure out how to do it by hitting something. That's the way. It's simple. Okay? You practice over and over again. Practice with as little telegraph as possible. Okay, firing short. We're going for in your range there. You just get comfortable in that one. Don't do 10 million things. Just that range, circling back and forth. In a fighting scenario, you get to that range, you stay in that range, moves away, you stay in that range, and you fire. You get really, really good at delivering your bomb there, okay? The bomb that you're trying to deliver. It has to have explosive power. It's only going to get that way by doing that. The second piece, by gradually increasing the time, you're going to increase your cardio, your endurance. You're going to be able to keep moving without getting gassed. You're going to throw a lot of shots without your arms getting tired. Just step it up slowly, okay? Go from 20-second rounds to 25. Go from 25 to 30. You've been doing that for a couple weeks, feels great. Go up to now Napoleon, my son, is doing 45-second rounds and keep building up. Another one of my students is doing 3-minute rounds, okay? So you keep building those things up. It will massively improve your actual fighting skill. So all of those things, if I'm not, when I'm here and I'm using my techniques to create those openings, it's also I can be here and fire these shots, okay, at my opponent. All of those things are so I can get in here and hit. So you have to remember, these things are the delivery system for these shots that are coming in that should have knockout power, okay? But they won't if you do everything leading up to, but you never do this. Sparring is great, but most times when I'm sparring, okay, with my friends, with my kids, with my students, I'm always super, super conscious I don't want to hurt them. Of course not, right? So we're all used to stopping and pulling punches here in Kung Fu. We're all used to just doing open hand taps. That's great for other things and fighting a mobile opponent. Useful, super important, useful for that. But the problem is if you only do that, guess what's going to happen? In a real situation, when it counts, you've done that for so long, you don't have time to think. Your body automatically stops where it shouldn't because you're so used to doing it. Your body will do what it's been trained to do. You have to counteract it by spending a lot of time practicing full power strike. You practice that over and you keep practicing it, drilling it daily. Now you're used to throwing shots at power. If not, it's always stop, 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 okay? That's why it's so important. Again, it doesn't have to be this guy. It can be a bag, it can be a pillow. I recognize everyone's different situations. You set something up. The most important thing is breaking it up. You're getting close. You practice using those weapons. Never mind this for now. That's something separate. You practice in chi-sao, wooden dummy, all the other stuff. You have to have time where you practice hitting, moving and hitting, moving and hitting. Moving and hitting is where so much Wing Chun falls apart, okay? And that's what you practice here. Never be stationary. When you're practicing with this guy, here's your pillow or whatever it is hanging up. You should be moving the whole time, back and forth, in and out. And then throwing your strikes, move back, and then come in again, okay? If you do that, I guarantee you're gonna notice a major difference in all aspects of your Kung Fu. This is super important, it's fundamental. Just as fundamental, honestly, if you have to tip one to the other, I would prefer you spend more time doing this than doing the forms. Okay, I'm not saying forms, calm down, forms are very valuable, but this is also eventually what we're trying to do. This is life and death here, okay? So, try my system. Step 1, find your range. Step 2, practice moving into your range and fire. Step 3, 3 rounds. I don't care what time you do for now, but 3 rounds, 1 minute rest in between. You start small, you practice moving, firing shots, it has to be full power. Footwork, movement, blocking, full power. That's it. It's simple. Try it. Let me know how it works for you. If you have other tips for people, I love to hear them too. I'm always learning just like you. Okay? Till next time, stay strong, keep training. We'll see you next time. Black Mamba Wing Chun.